Hey, today we're going to be talking about how to take health advice and recommendations and adapt it to your specific life, your specific situation, instead of automatically discounting it because you don't think it's going to fit in to your lifestyle. So stick around to learn more. Hey everyone, Dr. Ashley here. One of the most commonly used phrases that I hear when I'm working with patients is that won't work for me. That doesn't work for my family. That doesn't work for my schedule. That doesn't work for my lifestyle. That doesn't work for my preferences. Some variation of that won't work for me. And I am a huge fan of knowing yourself, your life, your brain, your family, and making sure that whatever you're doing works with your family. So if you truly know that something is not going to work and you don't want to take that advice or recommendation and build it into your lifestyle, that's great. I am all for that. However, I feel that a lot of the times that I hear that phrase, it automatically shuts my patients' brains off from the possibility of even adapting it or using pieces of that advice or recommendations to help improve their health. So saying that won't work for me tells your brain you can stop listening to it, you can stop trying to make it work because it's just not going to happen. And then your brain automatically shuts off. So before we get into how to not do that and make sure that you are analyzing the advice and seeing if it can actually fit into your life or not, let me just give you a couple of examples of when I see this come up commonly. Without a doubt, the place that I hear this most commonly is in regards to dietary change. I hear all the time that won't work for my family, my husband, my kids, that won't work because of my schedule and all of the traveling that I do. And I'm very picky. I have very specific food preferences and I can't adapt my diet to the way that you are recommending. For instance, I had a patient that I was talking to about these dietary changes, specifically in regards to the weight loss series, the online course that I have, and the specific food recommendations that I have there, which are eliminating two things only and then adapting your diet around that. And so what she said, or what she asked of me, was to give me some examples of what I eat on a regular basis. And I've stopped responding to this because what her brain did was come back after I had given her a list of a bunch of examples, and she said, well, my husband doesn't like that, my child won't eat any of that, and listed all the specific, the 8 dinner recommendations I had given her, why that wouldn't work for her. So instead, the way I respond to that question is, tell me what you're eating and let's adapt it to the diet. The same with travel. It may just take a little bit more planning, but there are so many food choice options at restaurants, at airports, anywhere you go that can be adapted to follow the dietary recommendations or the dietary advice that you have been given. Another big place that I hear this is when I am recommending patients to meditate. Their automatic response is, that won't work for me, my brain just doesn't shut off. Again, it closes you off to the idea that maybe I could find something that would work for me to get the same benefits, and it doesn't even allow your brain to let me, as the advice giver, get to the next step of, well, the goal of meditation is not to shut off your brain or for it to be completely quiet. It is to bring the focus back to a specific point. Your brain, if you have a brain, it's going to wander and it's going to think. That's the way it works. And the way meditation works is that you have to consciously recognize that and then bring it back. And it is a practice. But if you say automatically, that's not going to work for me, I don't like it, it doesn't even open the possibility of different forms of meditation that could work for you. So these are just a couple of examples of a slew of places where people don't open themselves to the possibility of making something work for them and their lifestyle and their family. All right, so now let's talk about how to work with your brain to see if you can take that health advice and recommendation and adapt it to you. The first step, and I don't want to sound too mean, but I do mean this, is stop thinking that you're the special butterfly. You are special and you are unique, but there is somebody out there who has the exact same barrier to whatever it is, who also travels for work, who also has a picky family, who also doesn't want to cook 4 different meals for every member of the family. Instead of thinking it works for everybody else, but here is why my situation is different, it is more helpful to think there is somebody out there struggling with the same obstacle as me who has figured it out, so I can figure it out too. The second step is to strip the advice down to the bare minimum. So again, when I'm giving the dietary advice that I do in the weight loss series, it is literally eliminate 2 substances from your diet, and then everything else is on the table. So that is all that you need to focus on. So again, sit down and look at your diet and see where those 2 substances are and just say, okay, how do I take out those 2 substances? Meditation, what is the goal? Bring your brain's focus to a specific point. A lot of times it's the breath, but other times it could be something different. So what is the bare minimum advice? Like really strip it down to see what you need to get the benefits of that health advice and recommendation. Ask questions, research, kind of figure out why is that recommendation given, and what is the bare minimum that I need to do to get the maximum benefits from it. This helps your brain avoid overwhelm. It's much easier to think that I just have to substitute a couple of things from my usual meal plan. That is so much less overwhelming than the idea of I have to remake an entire meal plan that works on this diet and fits into my life, my schedule, and my family's preferences. Do you see the difference there? So that's all that you need to do you just have to understand what the health advice is at the bare bones so that you can start applying it to yourself. Okay, so the third step is to brainstorm ways to take that bare bones advice and apply it to your life. And you do that by asking your brain good questions that are open-ended and challenge it in a positive way. You don't want to ask your brain or make statements that automatically shut your brain's thinking down. Just like that will never work for me shuts your brain's processing power to try to make it work for you. It's tweaking that to, well, how could I make this work for me? That gives your brain a challenge and it says, okay, well, let's go to work. How can we make this dietary recommendation fit into our life? And you could even add on, how can I easily make this work for me? How can I make this work for me with minimum effort or minimum meal prep? And you can apply that to any other scenario that we've been talking about when it comes to health advice. How could I easily adapt our meals to work for the family and follow the dietary plan? How could I substitute some of the ingredients that are off of my meal plan for just me so that my family doesn't even have to change their diet, but it's an easy, quick substitute so that I can meet my health goals? Are there other forms of meditation that I would like more? For instance, guided meditation, moving meditation like yoga or Tai Chi, a body scan meditation, maybe giving my body and brain something different to focus on than the breath would be helpful and achieve some of the same goals. Do you see how all of these questions are opening up possibilities instead of shutting down possibilities? That is the goal with step number 3 and the brainstorming and asking your brain good questions. All right, one last point. So fourth, if you choose to not follow that health advice that health recommendation, that's fine. This is your life and your body. Just make sure that you like your reason for it. And make sure that reason is not an excuse. Make sure that you've gone back and said, okay, I've done these steps and I really don't think, or I don't want to take the effort to make it work in my life. And that's okay. And just admit that I am actively choosing not to make that work. But make sure that you're just not making excuses. If you want more help with any of these health topics, go check out some of the programs that I have, specifically the weight loss series if you're looking to reset your insulin and lose weight, stop experiencing hunger all the time. Or if you're struggling with chronic insomnia, check out the sleep solution. You can find these at selfhealingdrashley.com. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.